Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahawa, Bahasham, Yahwashi, Bahasham, Rakal double honors to elders and apostles of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth, and shout out to Yakian that's out there on the four quarters proclaiming this truth as another brother from Great Millstone Camp, Great Waters 3, and he happens to be a confused face like myself. And there are a couple other brothers that are in this camp, but video's been posted. Eve knocks down brother's camera and gets arrested. So all praises to Yahweh Bahasham Yahwashi. So I'm going to play a little bit of this video here.
Alright, first and foremost, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to the house of David, the elect. I'm the brother Zion, and basically, I wanted to do a video on this demon that came up to the camp. Alright, the brothers in Rochester, about an hour away from us, GMS Solemn Assembly. You know, those are pretty much, our brothers, man. We talk back and forth with those brothers all the time. The camp leader in GMS Solemn Assembly used to be in our camp, but the brothers moved out to Rochester. Well, the camp leader lives out in Rochester, and a few other brothers woke up. So, it makes sense for that brother to, be teaching down there with those Akian. But anyway, this demon, alright, came up to these brothers, and she started snatching down the posters, and she knocked down the brother's camera, and then the cops came and arrested her ass. And one thing you're going to figure out is that Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi is watching over us, and he's not going to let any harm come upon us, man. The same thing when we had that Edomite come up to the camp a few weeks ago, call us niggers, and we were slaves and all this, and the cops arrested his ass. And that's the same thing that happened to this nigga woman, man. So I'm going to play the video, get a few scriptures, and close it up, and hopefully you brothers be edified. All right, here you go.
It's a laughing stock. I can do whatever I want. Then when you hear something that you don't like, that's a problem, all right? Hey, man, don't say your ass is still gonna die. No, you gonna die. You gonna die, man. Yeah, but we'll die for righteousness. You die. Wait, well, now we're harassing. You're harassing. Why you come up, go?
See, she comes up to the camp and says that the brothers are harassing her. You came up and spoke to these brothers. First of all, you're a woman. You need to know your damn place, man. Your place is not to be walking up to men running your mouth. And that's what Babylon has done to these women. Gave them too much damn liberty, man. All right? You're supposed to shut your mouth when the men of the Lord is speaking, man.
Don't be the gang, bro. Go shoot somewhere, right? Go somewhere. While you're confidence, we know exactly. You're a shameful dog, man. Shame on you. Look fucking disgusting. That's handsome.
You out here in flip-flops. You look dirty as shit, bro. Look at your face. Look at your head.
And then she goes to say, look at the brother's face because he has a beard. But little does she know, the Israelite man is supposed to have a beard. That's in the law. But this society teaches you to be clean shaven, like a pussy. All right? See, now it's the spirit because this cop, he had to be right there watching the brothers the whole time. Because look how quickly he pulled up. But she snatched the brothers' posters down, man. All right? That's wicked. That bitch is wicked, man. You see this bitch, man? She looks like she spit on the brother, man. You fucking whores, man.
So you see what happened there. She knocked down the camera, and of course, like everything else, though, she got herself arrested. And I just say, Shalom, Brakatah to brothers out there, man. You know, we're in a spiritual battle, man, and we was right there, man, fighting Satan, our adversary, which is Eve also. And so while that was going on, there's more. U.S. threatens North Korea with sanctions in force, but war could claim 1 million lives. This is Moscow writing. Washington continues to strangle Singapore with sanctions and threaten to impose more restrictions, but a potential regional conflict could claim up to 1 million civilian lives. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says, "We are seeing how the United States, every time attempts to tighten the sanctions screws on North Korea and to threaten it with use of force," Lavrov said Wednesday during a forum in Sochi. And this was said a little while back, but there's more.
Sanctions policy on Pyongyang despite President Donald Trump's planned summit with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
Our policy hasn't changed, and as the president stated, we have sanctions on. They're very powerful, and we would not take those sanctions off unless North Korea denuclearized.
White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders made those comments during a briefing on Monday. She said preparations for the June 12th summit in Singapore are going well. North Korea's denuclearization is the main issue of the talks. Washington wants Pyongyang to quickly give up all its nuclear and missile programs in a verifiable way in return for economic relief. North Korea has said it wants security guarantees that the U.S. will not try to topple Kim if he abandons nukes.
And so you know that this is Satan at full force here to get them to give up their weapons so they can overthrow him like Gaddafi. You know that. Meanwhile, I know you remember Operation Olive Branch, but there's more. Syrian Kurds, Turkish army can't stop our fight against the terrorists. Technical commander of the Democratic Forces of Syria, so again, Syrian Democratic Forces we know are terrorists, in the town of Azaz spoke to Sputnik in an exclusive interview where he talked about the recent attack by the Turkish armed forces. So all these are terrorist groups, you know, and it's just a huge mess, which is the way Esau wants it. The commander further stated that the attack by the Turkish armed forces will not stop us, and despite of everything, we will not stop our fight against terrorists. We will continue to fight until we cleanse the region from Daesh and similar terrorist groups. Well, you got to get the United States out of there in order to get rid of the terrorists. So what's happened is their backdoor, which has always been to the Kurdish region, is to create the Syrian Democratic Forces, and this is like the beginning of that, you know. So that way they can still try to keep their ally Turkey, you know. And either way, this is planned to fail. And there's more. United States plans steady drumbeat of exercises in South China Sea. U.S. Secretary James Mattis said on Thursday that the United States will continue a steady drumbeat of naval exercises to challenge Moab's territorial claims in the South China Sea amid Beijing's militarization of the contested waters. So basically, they're planning to engage. This will turn to a full-fledged war, as AMTV just did a video, and we're going to take a look at this video. Most likely it's Chad Bookham that's doing this, because I very rarely see Chris now as he's doing other things. So let's take a look at this video here.
Going to have a great discussion. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on. I know in the mainstream media, we're still caught up with these domestic disputes and bickering back and forth. But there are still military operations going off all around the country and the world. So let's discuss some geopolitics today. And leave your comments and opinions in the chat box. And I absolutely either go to some shout-outs or some questions towards the end of the show. Now, what is occurring? So let's start with the title of the video. The U.S. military is planning a huge offensive in the South China Sea. Now, obviously, they've been doing military drills there for some time, but now the U.S. plans significantly more South China Sea war drills to counter China's supposed new reality. And what's China's new reality? That is, the South China Sea is theirs, which is, pretty much in their neighborhood, and the islands off the coast are theirs as well, that are being disputed. And these man-made military islands that were built around these other islands that the West is trying to claim, as well as some other countries who are backed by the West in the region. So they built up these man-made military islands in order to ensure that the resources in the South China Sea is theirs. And this is what it's always about. How many times we discussed this here? This is how countries survive. Territory, oil, power, resources. This is what it's all about. So, basically, after an exciting weekend of comments from Secretary James Mattis, telling China, that basically there's going to be serious consequences if you were to place permanently surface-to-air missiles, anti-aircraft missiles, and have them deployed on these man-made military islands. So, James Mattis is warning China to stop militarizing the South China Sea. But is China, are they going to listen to that? I highly doubt they're going to listen to that. So let's look at what's occurring. So they're saying that they're going to increase military operations. Why do they want to increase military exercises? Why? If there's supposed to be peace deal between us and North Korea, which is a proxy of China, if this is supposed to be some kind of peace deal that we're going to get into, then why is the U.S. military going to increase significantly the military exercises and operations in the South China Sea? One reason only, to take these islands, to take the resources. We need them. So this is what's occurring. Now, obviously, such a move is going to further increase the geopolitical tensions in one of the world's most volatile regions. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this report coming out here. It says, officials explain to Reuters that the Navy drills could involve more extensive patrols. So this is the increased military operations. That it could involve more extensive patrols, ones involving a large number of warships or operations, including closer surveillance of the Chinese military bases on the islands, which now includes anti-ship cruise missiles, radar jamming equipment, and strategic bombers. So, China, they've been steadily, and they built these things. These islands were built very quickly, but now the tension is increasing because they are bringing these sophisticated weapons onto these islands in order to prepare, defend, or have an offensive. You know what I find interesting? Did you guys recall all of the ship supposed accidents that were occurring in the South China Sea? Just like less than a year ago. There were back-to-back. There were like 7 in a few months. Now, do you recall this? So, we're going to increase the amount of ships. We're going to increase the military operations in this area. Again, do you recall these supposed accidents that were occurring in the South China Sea? It was being reported everywhere. And I have John here. He's manning the ship for us. And I'm sure he could probably pull up an article regarding some of these ship accidents, supposed accidents that were occurring. These are warships that were supposedly being struck by huge, gigantic cargo ships. So you have these warships that are very sophisticated, with highly advanced radar systems that can literally, lock onto a fish flopping in the water, but yet it wasn't able to navigate itself